Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Cody Morse at Ark City High School again. I'm here to talk to you today about Module 11, which is Chapter 10, Gifts to Students or Staff. First, we have to define what a gift is. So, a gift is defined as personal goods or services for students or staff purchased with school funds. This is taking money and using it on any type of gift that is probably not going to stay at the school and it's going to travel outside the school, so it's therefore for personal gain most of the time. Gifts to students, when they're given to students, are usually paid for from activity funds, and they are only appropriate as incentives for fundraising and as special achievement awards. When giving gifts to students, only give fundraising gifts to students who raised funds, only used funds from the group that the student receiving the gift is a part of. So for instance, as an FFA advisor, when I give a gift, I'm only going to give it to FFA members. I'm not going to reach out and give it to Skills USA members that weren't a part of my fundraiser. Or the FFA's fundraiser. It's only going to those kids who were in my FFA chapter raising those funds. And gifts should not favor one group more than any other. Now, this is something I think that is probably common for principals to have to deal with. There's probably always a lot of people complaining that one group gets this or gets that and this group doesn't. That's just, I think something that goes on every day because we don't know the numbers of those other groups and what's really going on. Special Achievement Award gifts for students. Awards given for academic and or athletic achievements. This is something that we do with my FFA chapter every year. We give, awards for those who attended the most events, those who did the best in competitive events or career development events, as we call them, CDEs. Athletics, when I was in high school, I got a lot of athletic awards, stuff like that. Our gifts are nominal in value on the FFA side, and they are age appropriate as they should be, usually plaques, something like that. And funding may come from the general fund, businesses, or parent groups. We try to stay more along the lines of getting donation dollars and grant monies to pay for those types of things. However, we will use funds, in our account to help cover some of that if we need to. Gifts to staff members. There should be written guidelines for gifts to staff members, and it should be ran by a committee instead of a single staff member. One of the big reasons there is it takes the pressure off that single staff member. It gets rid of some of the worry that they may have about them being in charge of it. It also takes away the idea or the opportunity for a member to, take that money, maybe misplace it, steal it, things like that. This committee should meet at least once a year to review and update guidelines. Our world changes every year. There's new laws that go on books, things of that nature. It's just good practice to, have a review of things like this every year or as needed. Types of gifts for staff. Remembrance funds. I think most schools probably have these, but remembrance funds are paid with dues, donations, or money raised specifically for this purpose. This should also be ran by a committee with guidelines and reviewed yearly. Committee will determine limits, use of funds, and appropriateness of gifts. A lot of these are for staff members who have lost family, or the family that has lost a staff member, or critical illnesses, things like that. This, I think, can also be used for when a staff member has a baby or something like that. Types of gifts for staff when fundraising. Staff that participate in a fundraising event may receive a gift if it is appropriate, and items should be reasonable in price and equal to no more than 5% of profits. The big thing to remember here is if you're going to do this, that you need to make sure you're not cutting into your profit. That was the whole idea of doing a fundraiser, was to create as much profit as possible to fund whatever it was you were doing at the time. If you start using all that profit to, pay for some type of gift, you're kind of defeating the purpose of having a fundraising event. All staff gifts. Once again, these should be nominal in cost and paid for with funds generated by staff or generated for staff specifically. Gifts should be appropriate. General fund can be used on inexpensive gifts and used in the classroom, but the practice is not condoned, as all monies should be used to benefit the entire school, not just the staff. When you say the whole school, that means students, staff, everybody combined. However, on something like this, there are a lot of promotional companies out there, and I've learned this from my administration and my building and the secretarial staff here as well. There are a lot of promotional companies out there who cut you really good deals on new products that they have. Maybe it's coffee mugs, pens, notepads, cell phone cases, stuff like that. They will cut it to you at a really small fee because they want to get their product out there. Sometimes if you play the game right and play your cards right, you might even get it for free. And I use the term play your cards right with no pun intended. But 2 years ago, the entire high school staff here at Ark City got a free deck of cards from a company that was getting their name out there. So there you go, things like that. Cash or cash equivalents, there should be no, or these should not be given unless it is accounted for in the staff member's W-2, as the IRS does consider this to be taxable income. The recommendations in the book are for gifts that are of low dollar value, so they don't appear as disguised wages. You buy an expensive gift for that person, it's going to look like you're disguising wages, so that is not something I would condone. Special effort gifts. These are gifts given when student or staff are coping with an illness or catastrophic event. Once again, this kind of ties back to the remembrance funds a little bit. But it is separate in the fact that this is usually money that is eventually going to be handled by a bank. So seek advice from your district personnel before conducting any type of fundraising for something like this. See if you hear any news about something that's gone on where there's already an account set up, as these types of fundraisings should be forwarded to a parent group to work with the bank taking up these funds, as these can be considered taxable for employees as well if it goes to the district level. So make sure you're checking with all parties involved, know your basis, and I would even suggest that if something is not set up already, then maybe you drop a hint to somebody to get something set up with the bank, so something like this can be taken care of. So make sure you're smart with your money, and I would say anytime that you have a question about any type of fundraising stuff like that, just be sure to check with the people who know best. That's usually your financial secretaries, your bookkeepers, your central office staff. If there's any question, they'll be able to tell you. So with that, thank you.